Florida State currently holds a commitment from the number one edge rusher in the entire country, but can they hold on to him and keep him in the class? Javian Hilson is a four-star edge rusher out of Cocoa, Florida, and he comes in at 6'4", 235 pounds, so a true defensive end frame and could excel even further if he bulks up a little bit at the next level. The 247 composite rankings have him as the number 30 overall player and the number one edge rusher in the entire nation. So if the final rankings were today, and especially if he has another good senior season, he could be a 5-star by the time it's all said and done. So definitely a high-stakes recruitment for Florida State here. Now, Hilson was actually a former Alabama commit until Nick Saban retired. Then he decommitted from the Tide and pledged to the Noles back in January. But that hasn't stopped all the other top programs from recruiting him, and he's definitely taken some visits and has some Florida State fans concerned, perhaps a little bit of PTSD when it comes to top players and especially edge rushers. He's recently taken visits to Florida, Texas, and will visit UCF, the school closest to him, this weekend. Now that's some stiff competition, especially Texas with how much they do with NIL and having recent success on the field like they have. There's definitely a lot to sell there in Austin. And again, he has his UCF visit coming up this weekend, and then his final official visit, which is to Florida State next weekend for that massive June 21st weekend that we've been talking about for a while now. And he claims that's when he's going to make his final decision and shut down his recruitment after that point. So it's definitely always a little bit troubling hearing that a current commit will be making a, quote, final decision soon. But here's why I'm not super worried. For starters, I think Hilson is a super impressionable kid, and pretty much every time he visits another school, he claims they're his number two behind Florida State. After flipping from Alabama, they were long thought to still be the number two school. He visited Florida a couple weeks ago and said that they were right behind Florida State. And I visited Texas last weekend and said it's really just between Texas and Florida State now. All this points to one thing. For starters, he still put Florida State ahead of those schools. But also, when your number two school changes every week or so, but the one constant is Florida State, it's still usually a pretty good sign. Now, again, I consider Texas the top competition here, at least as of right now. But just a couple days after going to Texas for his official visit, he made his way back to Tallahassee for a midweek visit for their big man camp. And then still has his final official visit set for June 21st. So definitely a good sign to get him back on campus so quick after the Texas visit. But also, Florida State getting the last OV with him being so impressionable is a great sign and makes me feel confident that they can hang on to him, especially if he does actually shut down his recruitment after that. Now, another reason I feel confident is that Florida State clearly has an amazing track record with defensive ends, especially here lately. Obviously, putting 2 first-round picks in the NFL recently with Jared Verse and Jermaine Johnson. They also still have Pat Payton on the roster, who's already projected to be a first-round pick in next year's draft. So the development aspect is definitely there, and that's a big plus for Hilson. He's also said it's important how he'll be utilized in the 4-2-5 defense that Adam Fuller likes to run. It sets him up to be a true edge rusher, whereas somewhere like Texas, for example, that defense will have him in what they call the bear position, where he'll only be a true defensive end role maybe 50% of the time. Now, make no mistake, Hilson is arguably the most important recruit in the country for Florida State, in my opinion. Again, he could very well end up a 5-star in the end, and Florida State needs to prove that they can hold on to their top recruits, something that they've really struggled with in the past, but especially with recruiting defensive ends. Now, it was a major win for the Noles to pull him away from Alabama back in January, and will be another major win to keep him away from Texas, Florida, and everybody else, and be able to keep him in the class. Again, he's the number one ranked edge rusher in the entire nation right now, and I think Florida State can sign him, develop him, and turn him into the best edge rusher in college football, and just add him to the list of first-round draft picks coming out of Tallahassee. They just got to hold on. We appreciate you guys tuning in and talking some Florida State recruiting. Hopefully this video eased some of your concerns, but I definitely think Florida State's in a good shape here, and I also think that if you enjoyed the video, you should definitely hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to keep up with more videos and updates just like this one. We'll have another one queued up for you guys right here. We'll catch you on the next one. Go Noles.